Hey guys, welcome to a new movie review. Today I'm going to be talking about the new Godzilla film, Godzilla King of the Monsters. This is a new 2019 film that's a follow up to the 2014 Godzilla film that director Gareth Edwards worked on back 5 years ago. In this follow up, you guys, Michael Dougherty from the film Trick or Treat directed this sequel, and it takes place on pretty much like where we are at right now. 5 years after the events of the first Godzilla film from 2014, or at least this new lineup of MonsterVerse Godzilla films, so it seems to be. And the Monarch organization from the previous two films, Godzilla and King Kong Skull Island, they're trying to figure out where exactly Godzilla went, why he's hiding, why we can't find him. But while that's going on, there's all these different monsters awakening all over planet Earth, and they're called Titans. And based on old Egyptian wall pictures and things that we're finding from way back from when almost before anybody was around, that these monsters had basically roamed the earth at one point. They went into hiding. People kind of took over Earth at that point while the monsters were hiding, and now they've awakened again, and they basically want to claim back the planet. But Godzilla has been kind of our lucky monster that wants to defend Earth from these monsters rather than destroy it with the monsters. Um, but because Muto was the last monster that he faced in 2014, there's many more monsters this time that are the Titans that Muto was not. So we have our King Ghidorah, we have Rodan, we have Mothra, and all these other big iconic Godzilla monsters that have shown up in the Godzilla films over the course of many years. And so basically, it's up to Godzilla to stop these monsters from destroying planet Earth so that Earth can be habitable to live on for all the other humans. So overall, guys, I actually really like this new Godzilla film. I will say right off the bat, I do like the 2014 Godzilla film a lot better than this one. I thought that film had a better storyline, more characters that I cared about. I actually did like how, even though Godzilla was a big part of that movie, I did like how they focused in on different things, really kind of approached it differently, really tried to tell the most unique, different Godzilla film possible. I thought Gareth Edwards' touch in that first Godzilla film was much more unique and different than it was in this film. So I went into this film with a lot of expectations and stuff like that, and I was very happy with what I saw here. Michael Dougherty, like I said, who directed Trick or Treat, which I also really enjoyed. Since I enjoyed that film so much, I was really hoping he would bring something new and unique to Godzilla as well. Unfortunately, I really felt like kind of anybody could have stepped in to direct this movie, really. I really felt like the things I like about Michael Dougherty as a director and as a writer really weren't as present here as I was hoping they were going to be. And I guess one big red flag with that is he likes to do a lot of practical effects. And if you're making a Godzilla film in 2019, obviously that's going to be more CGI driven and stuff like that. So, kind of a unique, strange choice in that regard. Um, Still a very well directed film, a really well made film. Like I said, just not quite as good as that 2014 Godzilla film, unfortunately. But let's go over some positives and negatives as to what I really liked about this film and some things about this film I think could have been improved upon and maybe could have stepped up to the first 2014 Godzilla film better if some of these were applied. So, for my positives of this film, the monster action was terrific in this. If you really just want a great Godzilla film with tons of monster action, with just Godzilla fighting King Ghidorah or Mothra or Rodan or any of these monsters, there's tons of money's worth. You're going to get your money's worth with this film because the action is very good here. The monster fights are a lot of fun to watch. I just had a lot of fun watching these monsters duke it out with each other. It was just a ton of fun. There's also a lot of classic Godzilla musical cues in this film. I actually like the musical score better in this film than I did in the last Godzilla film, and I loved what Alexander Desplat did in the 2014 Godzilla film. I don't know if he did the score for this one or not, but whoever did the score, I thought actually did a better job here. I liked how it was more classic Godzilla music. Whenever he showed up or whenever another monster showed up. Just classic musical cues while still kind of creating a new score for the movie itself. I really liked what they did with the musical cues in this film and with the musical score in this film. I thought they were both very well done here. I also thought the overall visual effects were very good in this film, whether it is the monsters or the destruction or making something look like it aged or making it look like people are underwater or they're exploring something underwater. I thought the visual effects here were very well handled. Huge thumbs up to that, whether that was Michael Dougherty or his visual effects team. I thought that aspect of the film was very well handled. One character in this film I actually really liked a lot. Not quite as good as Bryan Cranston's character was in that 2014 Godzilla film. I really liked that character's mission in that movie, but I really liked Kyle Chandler's character in this film. I really liked his mission. I understood kind of why he was getting short around his family, specifically around his ex-wife, who was played by Vera Farmiga in this movie. I really just understood his mission. I understood kind of why they wanted him to be a part of this whole thing in the movie where he studied animals and kind of understood why they got aggressive or had to attack something or went for food or why you had to stay quiet or silent when a monster's getting aggressive and stuff like that. So I really liked his character in this film. One of the more interesting written characters in this movie. So huge thumbs up to Kyle Chandler. I thought his character in this film was very effective and very fun to watch. I also liked Monarch and their mission. I liked how the mission that they've had in both Kong Skull Island and the 2014 Godzilla film is continued here. They really want to research monsters and kind of see their full potential, use them for good if possible. So I really liked how they also got Ken Watanabe and Sally Hawkins to return as their characters in this film. It was fun to see kind of where Monarch was in 2019, where their mission was, and where they're going to go from here. I also liked how each monster had their own moment in this movie, whether it was Rodan or Mothra or King Ghidorah. Each monster kind of had their big moment in this movie to shine. So it wasn't just about getting as many monsters on screen as possible. I really thought this film did a great job with making sure each monster had their own moment and kind of their own moment to shine in this movie. Unfortunately, for my negatives of this new Godzilla film, it really is not very character driven. I thought the 2014 film really did a good job with Aaron Taylor Johnson and Elizabeth Olsen and Bryan Cranston, and even like Ken Watanabe and Sally Hawkins. I thought their characters were given more to do in that movie. This film, unfortunately, is not very character driven. There's just so many scenes where you really don't get a chance to learn about the new characters very well, besides Kyle Chandler's character. Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things is in this movie, and we really don't get to see a lot with her or know about her background. The same with Vera Farmiga and Oshia Jackson, Ice Cube's son, has a role in this movie as well. We really don't get to learn a lot about them. It's just really not a very character-driven film, unfortunately. I know there was a lot of complaints in 2014 with too much attention on the human characters and not on Godzilla, but at least that film had a better storyline with characters I cared about more. So I really didn't like the choice of making this less character driven. Yes, the monster action is very cool and they have more focus on it, but as a result, the character driven parts of the story are just not quite as good as that 2014 film was. I also thought this film had a very flat ending. It just kind of runs out of steam and ends after the big monster moments are done with, and that's really unfortunate. I really would have liked to see more wrap up with Kyle Chandler's character, Millie Bobby Brown's character, Vera Farmiga's character. There was just so much more they could have done with the ending here, but unfortunately it just kind of ends once the monster action kind of runs out of steam. I also thought that Gareth Edwards really should have returned for this movie. I know Rogue One, a Star Wars story, really took a lot out of him, and I think he kind of left the directing thing for a while. I don't even know if he has another film lined up at the moment for directing right now or not, but I thought his touch in 2014 for a Godzilla film was very effective. I really liked how he gave you a sense of perspective. Like if a character was on the ground or up in the ice skydiving and watching the monster action happen. I really liked how he gave us a sense of perspective with his monster movie. I thought Michael Dougherty didn't really do anything with that this time around. Yes, if a character's on the ground and stuff, yeah, you'll get that, but I thought Gareth Edwards was just more involved and better about scaling and sizing and stuff like that with his characters, specifically his monster characters. I thought the Gareth Edwards touch didn't quite make it into this film as much as I was hoping to. So that's one downside of Michael Dougherty directing this film, is it's not going to have that Gareth Edwards touch that made the 2014 film so special. I also thought there could have been more Skull Island elements in this movie. Yes, I do know that there is a Godzilla vs. Kong film coming out at some point next year in 2020, but because they reference it so briefly in certain scenes, I would have liked to have seen more of that, potentially even where King Kong might even be at this point in the timeline of the MonsterVerse movies. So I really, besides just having small little nods to Skull Island, maybe kind of show us where maybe King Kong is or what he's doing around the time this happened. So I would have liked to see more Skull Island elements added to this movie. There's also a lot of uneven scene transitions. There's just so many scenes in this movie where we go from scene to scene and we really don't know what the characters are up to, or it's not really very well explained why certain motivations happen the way they do. So I thought certain things like that in the story could have been way better handled than how they were. I also thought there was a lot of story details that the film completely lacked. There's certain moments where we kind of sort of know what Millie Bobby Brown is up to, or kind of sort of know what Vera Farmiga is up to, but there's just not enough detail at times. There's just more explanation needed for certain things happening in the storyline. So I thought that aspect of the film could have been way better handled. So maybe even a rewrite could have happened before this film, and I think that would have immediately improved a lot of the problems I had with this movie. But overall, I'm going to give Godzilla King of the Monsters, this new 2019 film, an 8.5 out of 10. I think it's a very good film. I highly recommend that you see it. If you like any type of kaiju or monster movies, definitely up your alley. I think you'll have a lot of fun with this film like I did. Like I said, not quite as good as that 2014 Godzilla film. There was just more of a directorial touch from Gareth Edwards in that film than what Michael Dougherty did in this film. But it's still 8.5 out of 10 for me. I really like this movie. Just enough things about it to make me recommend that you go out and see it and stuff like that. There is more problems, I feel, this time around than there was in 2014, but still a great, good, solid Godzilla film that I highly recommend seeing.